Hi guys, it's Helen here. Thank you for joining me on this webinar. I apologize, I haven't done one of these for a long time. I have been busy traveling and spending time with my mother, and so yes, I haven't done one, so I apologize for that. But I wanted to come back with a bang because I wanted to share the story. Sorry, my hair, I've just had my hair cut, looks a bit of a mess at the moment. I just wanted to share the story of feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Because over the last month, I got right out of my comfort zone. And I know that many people struggle with getting out of the comfort zone. We all do. There's an area, and then there's this out of our comfort zone. There's an area that's our comfort zone. There's an area out of that comfort zone, and we all struggle with getting out of it. So I want to share what happened to me over the last month and how I knew that if I did this, I would feel so good. So let me take you back a few months. I was planning a trip to the UK, where I'm from. My son was starting a job, let me set my glasses, in the UK for a year. So we planned to go to the UK for Christmas. And I also had a business trip back in Vegas on the way back. And on a whim, I was in booking my trip to the UK, and I decided that after the event was running from the Thursday to the Sunday. After the event, I would stay a few days in Vegas. Why? Several reasons. One was because I realized, or I was told, I think I had a discussion on Facebook with somebody, that the Grand Canyon was not too far away. I love nature. I love being out in nature. Vegas doesn't really do it for me. However, I will share a bit about that later. So I decided I would travel to the Grand Canyon. Didn't know how, didn't know why. I just booked these 3 days and I left it open. And I was thinking, okay, well, I'll just let the universe fill this in. So my trip was booked, paid for, and I started to put on Facebook, my colleagues who were also going, I started to say, anybody going to be staying after the event? This was back here, this would have been in October maybe, or November. And nobody was saying yes. I was thinking, oh, I booked these 3 days. And I wasn't telling them, I was thinking to myself, I booked these 3 days, and who's going to be doing the trip with me? Is it going to be me? Who's it going to be doing it? And but I was still thinking, yes, it'll work out. And the more I looked into it, it was quite funny really, because the more I looked into it, the more I found that a lot of things, trips to the Grand Canyon, organized tours, don't run. I asked my travel agent about some trips, and she said, oh, it turns out a lot of them don't run. Because my initial plan had been to get the train, you go to Williams and you get the train into the Grand Canyon, and you stay at a hotel in there, and then you take shuttles. But a lot of these trips weren't running for the winter. I was thinking, oh. And so I thought, okay, I'll just go with the flow. It'll work out. And I was just allowing and just thinking it will work out. And then I was chatting with a friend on Facebook, Teresa. Hi, Teresa, if you're watching. And I told her what my plans were. And she said, oh, I'm driving. She was driving from Wisconsin, miles away. I don't know my geography. I don't know how far that is, but I think it's a fair way, because I know she traveled a lot of miles. She was driving. She said, oh, I've always wanted to go to Grand Canyon. I'll drive with you. And I thought, oh, yippee, a piece has fallen, a piece of the puzzle has fallen together. But I was still, obviously still quite nervous, but, the piece of the puzzle going to the Grand Canyon was falling together. Excuse me. And so that was pretty exciting, but we didn't really discuss the bits and pieces. So I assumed that she was going to be driving back to Vegas and then going home. So I thought, oh, great, I've got a ride to the Grand Canyon. And then another friend said, well, if you go to the Grand Canyon, Sedona is only an hour away from there. If you want to go there, it's really great. And I thought, oh, yeah. And I remembered I've got a friend in Sedona. So I contacted my friend in Sedona. He said, oh, yes, I won't be there, but you can use my place, use my place. And he sent me all these recommendations where to go. So it was coming together. However, I realized that as my friend was only going to the Grand Canyon, she was going to drop me off at Sedona. I had to find my own way back from Sedona. So I thought, okay, it's all sorted. So I, did everything, and I went to Vegas. And I don't know if I said this before earlier, but Vegas doesn't do it for me at all. And the idea of spending any amount of time in Vegas did not appeal to me. So the event finished, my business trip finished on the Sunday, and we were busy getting organized to leave on the Monday morning. And I'm quite an early riser, so I was up with the birds and packing whatever, and I thought, oh, I ought to look into booking my trip back to Sedona at this point. And when I ran the shuttle, I'd been told there was a shuttle that went back from Sedona to Flagstaff, and then you got the Greyhound from Flagstaff to Vegas, and then I'd stay a night in a hotel and have a look at, just spending one night looking at Vegas. That's all I needed. So I rang the shuttle, and they said, we don't run in the winter. I was like, oh my goodness. There I was in Vegas on the Monday morning. My friends were leaving that day, and I was suddenly having kittens, thinking my 3 days of plans were going to mush. So I said to my friends, I don't think I'm going to come with you. And they said, why? What's happened? And I said, oh, there's no shuttle from Sedona to Flagstaff in winter. And I was also talking to my friend David, hi David, who lives in Phoenix, and he was helping me. He was helping me to organize it, you know, via Facebook and whatever. And so I messaged him and I said, there's no shuttle. He said, oh, I'll look into it. I'll see what I can do. And so my friend also said, oh, well, we could drive you to Albuquerque and you can get a flight from Albuquerque back to Vegas. And here I was thinking, what am I doing? And my friend David said to me, I said, oh, I'm getting stressed about this. He said, if you're getting stressed, that's a sign not to go. Stay in Vegas. Plenty of you can do in Vegas. One thing about me is I'm determined. My grandmother, my Welsh grandmother used to say to me, you're determined, you are, and I am. If I've got a plan, I'll do it by hook and by crook, I'm going to do it. So I said, no. And I'd been talking to various people, and they said to me, oh, yes, Grand Canyon is fantastic. Get to Sedona, go to Cathedral Rock, go to Red Rocks Crossing, do all these things. And so they, you know, I had it in my mind. I was visualizing getting to the Grand Canyon and going to Sedona. So I didn't care what obstacles were on my way. I was going. So I discovered that I could get a taxi from Sedona to Flagstaff for a reasonable amount, or there's flights from Albuquerque to Vegas. And it turned out the flight was going to be quite expensive. So I thought, okay, I'll go with a shuttle. I'll go with a taxi. So we started off on our adventure to Grand Canyon. Well, it was not without its challenges, but it was so worth it. We went to, we drove through, and I hadn't realized my geography. I love nature. I love traveling. But my geography is appalling. And so we drove via the Hoover Dam, which didn't do it for me. I mean, an amazing piece of, I'm not quite sure what you call it, engineering design, but it doesn't, the actual Hoover Dam doesn't really do much for me. But Lake Mead, oh my goodness. And I wish I'm not brave enough to try and share my screen here, but I'll post a blog, and I'll put this video in the blog, and I will post all the photographs in there too. Lake Mead, oh my God, I could spend all day there. It was just amazing. So we carried on, and we got to the Grand Canyon, which was hilarious, because there's me having traveled from, you know, I'd gone from New Zealand to the UK to Vegas, and you know, I hadn't driven. I wasn't the chauffeur. I was very fortunately a passenger. But you know, we'd driven all this way. I traveled all this way, the Grand Canyon, and I could see as I walked up there. I was the first to walk up to this. I can't remember what it's called now. This viewpoint, fog, what I would call not a snow whiteout. We couldn't see a thing. And I was like, oh no, you have to laugh. You have to laugh at this. So we were in stitches because we just couldn't see a thing. But we would go down to the visitor shop, and we'd go back up. And I kept saying, a funny thing I did, I said to my friends, I said, either of you got a good relationship with the man upstairs? Because right now we need this fog cleared. We need it cleared. So I stood by the railings, and I just went, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the fog cleared a bit. So we got some pictures. We got some amazing pictures, but not, I mean, I could see it was quite interesting actually, because just by showing, just through the fog, I could just get a glimpse of this incredible expanse of the Grand Canyon. It was just absolutely amazing. So we stayed there a couple of hours, and I said to my friend, look, I said, this isn't going to turn out. So let's go to Sedona and see Sedona, because the idea had been that we'd get to Sedona probably in the evening, and they'd go on and I'd see Sedona the next day. And I thought, let's go to Sedona, and you know, because this is brilliant. So we left Grand Canyon and we traveled down to Sedona. Oh my word, I cannot recommend enough you go to Sedona. It is absolutely amazing. We traveled down this picturesque winding road. By this time, I was in the back, and I generally choose to sit in the front because I'm not a good traveler. I'm good driving, and I'm not a bad passenger, although I don't do a passenger so well, but I was in the back and going around bends like this. Oh, I was not feeling too good. So anyway, but unfortunately, we stopped quite often to take. Absolutely amazing. And again, I wish I could show you. Yes. Anyway, so I said to my friends, we got down there and I said, let's stop. And we stopped a few places that were just amazing. And we stopped at an Indian shop and just had some coffee and tea and whatever, and just incredible. And I said to my friends, I had to be quite cheeky because, like I said, I wasn't the driver, saying, hey, because I knew they would drop me at Sedona. And then my friend Dustin had suggested all these places to see in Sedona. And I knew I wouldn't get to see them without a car. So I said to my friend, hey, there's this one place been recommended. My sister recommended it. It's called Red Rocks Crossing. I said, it's not far from here. And I'd asked in the shop how far it was. They said, oh, it's like half an hour. So I said, oh, it's half an hour. So we drove there. Oh, my goodness. We must have spent over an hour there. It was just absolutely amazing. And I have to say, considering, what I'd done, how I'd booked this trip and I'd left 3 days and I'd let the universe fill it all in because I just gone with the flow. Because how you have to go sometimes. You have to trust in the process that you're doing something and everything will work out. Just have that faith. And honestly, Sedona was just amazing. And there's an interesting story that I'll share with you in a minute. So we walked down to the water and we stood in awe. We all got our cameras out, we're doing videos, photographs, and we must have stayed about an hour or so. I mean, it was just, we couldn't stop taking photographs. And I got talking to this guy. It was quite interesting. I got talking to this guy who was doing photographs with his, I think it might have been his son and daughter-in-law or something. And he was telling me they were getting married there in a couple of months. And so they were taking photographs. And I said to him, I'm from the UK, but I live in New Zealand. And I said about the story of the shuttle. He said, oh, well, no, he said, there is a shuttle. He said, let me give the name of this lady. And he gave me this name of this lady called Sana. And he said, she runs a shuttle. Give her a call because she will be able to help you out. I thought, okay, thank you. And then we stayed, and we stayed till virtually sunset because it was just so beautiful. And then once again, I got the jitters because my friends were taking me to this place I was staying, my friend's rental place, and they were going off. And here I would be, a strange country, on my own, like, no one to contact. Well, all only my connections through my computer. But in a way, I was also quite excited. It was like, oh my goodness, an adventure. So they dropped me off, and I was exhausted. We'd had a very busy day. I was exhausted, so I crashed for the night. I got up the next morning, and my friend David had sent me some recommendations of where to go. I didn't have a car, but I love walking. So I set off walking. And I must tell you, I had booked a taxi. I'd booked this taxi firm that my friend David had given me to pick me up a good hour or so before the Greyhound went to take me to Flagstaff. So I'd organised this taxi. And I tried to ring this lady, Sana, that this guy at Red Rocks Crossing gave me. But it just kept going to a message saying the person at this number has not done the voicemail. So I couldn't get hold of her. Anyway, in the meantime, I walked down I set it on my phone to tell me I wanted to go to this place called Chocolatery. So I set it on my phone and I started walking down to Sedona, to the village, and oh my goodness. Oh my, I can see it in my mind's eye now. Walking down that road and you look up and you just see the red rocks again. Oh, it just takes your breath away. So I walked down. It was quite funny because I went into a visitor center. And again, I have traveled on my own, but it's all been mapped out ahead of me. I haven't traveled and not booked things. So that's where it was out of my comfort zone because I just hadn't booked things and I just let all come. And I'd actually at one stage on my journey, when I'd left the UK, I'd been a month in the UK, my mother, and at that stage, I was glad I was going to the event because I was looking forward to meeting my friends, and that was excellent. But I just wanted to go straight home after that. I wanted to see Grand Canyon, but I just thought, oh. And when things weren't coming together, I actually asked my travel agent, how much would it be to cancel and go home early? And it was just ridiculously expensive. So I thought, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So I'm walking to this travel information center, and I said, I want some breakfast. And I'd seen a coffee pot across the road, and I said, I'm also looking for the chocolatery. And she said, oh, well, the chocolatery is about half an hour again down this road. And I thought, okay. And I said, and where can I get coffee? And she said, well, you'll get coffee, the chocolatery. I said, okay. And I said, what about the coffee pot over there? And she said to me, if you want chocolatery, she said, I don't think you want the coffee pot. And I said, what do they serve at the coffee pot? Because I'm quite fit. I like fruit and muesli and stuff for breakfast. I'm not into these big American breakfasts of, all you can eat. And she said, it's, everything, pancakes. I thought, oh no, I don't want that. So she said, no, I didn't think you'd want the chocolatery and the coffee pot. They don't kind of go together. So I walking down the chocolatery, and my friend said to me, you need to go. It's magical. Say I sent you, and they just won't be disappointed. So I walked the half an hour or so. No, actually, it wasn't half an hour. It was more like 20 minutes. I'm a fast walker. It's this chocolatery, and I walked in. And I said, I've come all the way from the UK, New Zealand, and I said, I've been told it's a magical place. And he said to me, well, I don't know what they told you, he said, but, we serve things, we make everything we do here. It's all gluten-free and it's all natural, organic, blah, blah. And he said, there's a lot of love here. He said, you'll enjoy it. And he said, where are you going to sit? And I said, oh, well, I want to sit outside. It's a beautiful day. I'll sit outside. And he said, oh, well, there's a garden out there. Got the garden. He said, we don't serve out there. He said, you can take your drink. So I'd ordered a smoothie. I went out and sit out in the garden. It was just beautiful. It was just, I cannot describe it. It was just very spiritual, very peaceful. And I cried. I don't know why, but I cry. I mean, I've lost a lot of people in the last few years, and my auntie just passed away in November. And maybe that was it. I don't know, but I cried. And I would have stayed longer, but I knew the taxi was picking me up at something like, I don't know, wasn't 12, but I just was aware I had to get home back to where I was staying, and it was going to take a while. So I left this chocolatery, and on the way back, I'd seen on the way there, I'd seen this shop called All You Want. I thought, oh, that appeals to me. I'll go and look at All You Want. I walk in, thought, it was a what do you call? I'm trying to think what you call it. They basically sell, because in certain states in the US, if you're in America, you'll know, drugs are legal. So it was basically a little cannabis pot, little shop. So I was looking around, and I was about to leave, and the guy said, would you like some tea? And I said, oh, yes, please. And I suddenly thought, oh God, it's not spiked tea, is it? But it wasn't. It was delicious. So that was my visit to All You Want. So I walked back then, and I got some food. And I love, they have, they do it in the UK too. They don't do it here. They have, what is it called? Whole Foods, which is all organic stuff. Oh, it's just fantastic. I love more natural stuff. So I walked back, and it was great, and I did some work and sat on, and I had a beautiful deck, and I'll actually load those photographs up too and include that on the blog. So I walked back to the apartment, and I packed up, and that was a nightmare because my case was so busy. And my friend, again, people love to, I don't know why, people love to give you the worst case scenario. I've been warned that Greyhound was not safe for a woman doing it. And I'm not someone, things don't bother me. Yes, this was out my comfort zone, but I don't get bothered by things. For me, it's all very much attitude. You walk with your head up and you're confident you'll be fine. And so this is where this interesting thing starts to happen. I packed up, and I'd been given instructions what to do with the apartment, the key and everything. So I packed all that, and then I got out, and I was waiting on the curbside, and the taxi pulled up, and there's a woman driving. And I thought, oh, that's nice. I like to have, it's nice when you've got a long journey. I knew it was going to take me about an hour or something to have a woman, So I got in the taxi, and she drove, and she was telling about her life, and she was a bit like, she was like in the same boat as me. She was divorced, and we were chatting away. And she said, oh, I used to drive a shuttle from Sedona to Flagstaff. And I said, oh, did you? Now, bear in mind, the guy had told me the night before at Red Rocks about this lady. And I said, your name's not Sana, is it? And she said, yes, it is. And I thought, wow, so synchronistic. Excuse me, definitely drink of. It's late here for me. It's, what is it? 10 to 9. So a glass of wine. So I thought, oh my goodness, that's so synchronistic. You've been talking about this lady who would run the shuttle, and she happened to be driving me. So she drove me to Flagstaff, and I said, oh, what's the Greyhound going to be like? And she'd all be okay, you know, she'd just be careful. She said, I haven't really used them for a long time. Greyhound was a piece of cake. Yes, interesting people there, all sorts, you know, people with missing teeth, and a lady with a Dachshund who was off her rocker. But I just talked to people. I said, hi, how are you? And once I mentioned New Zealand, oh my goodness. They say, oh, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and oh, I want to come to New Zealand. And I said, well, it's like Sedona. I said, it's like Sedona. It's a long way to go, but so worth it. So that was fantastic, and I didn't have any problem with the Greyhound. And I made a wise decision. I'm not a good traveller. I travelled on my one leg of the trip from the UK. I had to drive to get the coach from Wales to London, and I made the mistake of not sitting at the front. I sat middle, and I'm not a good and I just felt so ill because it took 4 hours to get from Wales to London. And I felt so ill when I got there. And so I thought, no, I'm not sitting, you know. So I chose to sit right at the front of the Greyhound. Fantastic. I tell you, driving from Flagstaff to Vegas, and almost, I don't know, like I say, but you'd go down these hills and you'd see these amazing towns all lit up. Oh, and it was like I was driving the bus. It was just fantastic. And we stopped several times. So don't let anybody tell you that the Greyhounds are awful, because on this one it had Wi-Fi and it was comfortable, and we stopped 3 or 4 times to get food, and it was just a piece of cake. It was great. So I got to Vegas, and I must say I wasn't looking forward to Vegas. Bright lights and gambling doesn't do it for me, and I had another shot to come because I'd been looking for a place to stay, and I was very naive booking my place to stay because I just chose the MGM Grand, biggest hotel in Vegas apparently, and huge gambling area. And I just walked in, oh my God, this wasn't my cup of tea at all, not my cup of tea at all, and so big that there was me when and I had to get, when I left the Greyhound, I had to say a taxi. I had to walk a little while to get a taxi, and then I hadn't realized how far the taxi place, what the Greyhound station was from my hotel. But anyway, I got to my hotel. I had to walk about 2 miles to go to my room. The MGM Grand is that big. So I got to my room and I was exhausted, and but I had a mission. I had a mission when I got to Vegas, to see the Bellagio Hotel and its fountains. And oh my goodness, again, I didn't realize my hotel, MGM Grand, was about half an hour's walk from Bellagio. So I walked down the strip quickly. I'm a fast walker, and I must have looked funny as a woman on her own. But again, it didn't bother me. I felt, because I'd done all this traveling, I felt really empowered. I felt really confident. So I walked quickly, got to Bellagio, and I'll put that video as well into my blog, because that was incredible. I did 2 videos. Oh, beautiful. And one of them was a piece of music I just love. Oh, what's his name? Andre Bocelli. Oh, just amazing, amazing, amazing. So I know I walked the length of the strip, and then I went back to my room, and you know, and then I had another 3/4 of a day to spend. So I was going to go down into Vegas and see other parts of Vegas, but it was going to be the metro and a taxi run. I just couldn't be bothered. So I actually spent the day walking around the hotel, and I saw some amazing sights. I mean, MGM Grand is like a village. So I walked around and saw fish tanks. And I'll put those photographs too. Just an amazing sight. So I got my getting to the airport wasn't without its problems either. I booked a shuttle online. It was hilarious, really. You have to laugh at these things. You have to laugh. And it's given me a new taste for traveling, and even on my own, because when you're on your own, you can do whatever you want to do. You can talk whoever you want to talk to. You've got no one to say, oh, let's go here, let's go there. You can just do what you want to do. And so I was waiting for my shuttle, and somebody said to me, I don't know what shuttle you've booked, but, you know, there's not many, this is who operate, blah, blah. My shuttle didn't turn up. And then when it did, it was the wrong time. And because I didn't have paper, I had to pay again. That reminds me, I must chase that up. So I got to the airport, and oh yeah, I forget now. I got to the airport, and I just had a feeling. I said, I'm off to Terminal 3. said, oh, this isn't Terminal 3. I had to get back on the bus and drive miles to Terminal 3. So I got, and I was very fortunate on the way back from Vegas to New Zealand, I had 3 whole seats to myself. So I managed to sleep. So having done it, what would I say to you? I would say, do it. Feel the fear and do it anyway, because my trip was absolutely fantastic. Yes, it wasn't without its challenges, many challenges, but it was fantastic. And I'm sure I just want to give a shout out to my friends, Teresa and Shannon, who were the drivers, and to David for being my contact via Facebook when I had problems and helping me book things and whatever. And just feel the fear and do it anyway, because nothing, I wouldn't have changed anything. The challenges we go through make us stronger and wiser, and I wouldn't be the person I am now. I've got a new lease on life. I've had breakthroughs. It's been amazing because I felt the fear and did it anyway. And I'm sorry, it's getting rather dark here. And so it was just fantastic. And I want to show you something before I go, and I hope it's going to work, because let me just turn up, because it might not do, but I don't often. It's a beautiful sunset, and so I just want to see if you can see it, because the camera doesn't very often. I don't know whether you can actually, no, it doesn't do it justice, but it's just beautiful out there. It's absolutely beautiful. And so sorry about that. I didn't quite work as I expected, but I just want to say to you, feel the fear and do it anyway. Please do connect with me on Facebook if you're not already, and read my blog, and I'll post my blog up, and just go with it. And I would do it again. I would do it again, because I've heard of other people who've booked trips, haven't had a hotel or anything, and it's all just happened. And it does. It works out. When you have the faith, when you go for something and you want something and you're confident, you just know it's going to work out. Like I said, challenges will happen, but when you show the universe, God, whoever you believe in, that you're pushing through those challenges and you're going to do it anyway, it works. So that's all tonight. It's gone a bit longer than I thought, but 8:30 to 9. So I look forward to connecting with you, and I will post the replay, and catch me next week. Could be a surprise in store next week too. So thank you for being with me. Please leave me your comments, and I'll post this on Facebook, and I'll post my blog too. Thanks for joining me, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Have a great night.